Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Syafiq bin Sairul Bahari. I am from section 3. Today I will explain about introduction. What is forecasting? Forecasting is the practice of creating forecasts based on historical and current data, most frequently through trend analysis. Risk and uncertainty are critical components of forecasting and prediction. When we go deeper about the qualitative forecasting, it is bring the definitions of advantages for creating forecasts with a narrow range of application. The qualitative research method shown five image from the graph. The first one is context-dependent finding by evaluating a subject predicates, popular research through communication, ethnography, and phenomenology, critical analysis and assessment of the findings, building negative hypotheses, and the last one is growing dependency. It is also known as the judging method. Qualitative forecasting produces subjective outcomes because it is based on expert or forecaster perception. The quantitative research method brings the definition of characterized by the collection of information which can be analyzed numerically. The next one, the results are typically presented using statistics, tables, and graphs. The last one, because the quantitative data is numeric, the collection and analysis of representative samples is commonly used. The quantitative method is a mathematical procedure which makes it consistent and objective. It avoids relying on judgment and institution, instead relying on massive volumes of data and numbers that are interpreted. The forecasting model to use is determined by the available resources and data, the accuracy of competing models, and the intended application of the forecasting models.
Now I will talk about literature review. First, linear trend model. If the variable of interest is a time series, it is essential to identify and fit any systematic time pattern that may exist. Consider the variable xi, which was examined on the page for the main model, and assume it is time series. Next is Hall linear trend method. Hall expanded simple exponential smoothing to allow for trend prediction in data. A forecast equation and two smoothing equation, which is level and trend equation, are used in this method, where LT denotes an estimate of the level of the series at the time t, and BT denotes an estimate of trend slope of the series at time t. Alpha is the smoothing parameter for the level 0 smaller than alpha smaller than 1. And beta is the smoothing parameter for the trend 0 smaller than beta smaller than 1. Next is forecasting models. The forecasting model used differ in terms of the assumption they are founded on. The models are described using the value language shown in the slide. Next is the 5 forecasting model along with their respective source and assumption. Constant budget is EAC equal to BAC. And second, constant cost deviation value is equal to EAC equal to BAC plus ACWP minus BCWP. Constant cost efficiency rate equal to BAC over CPI. For constant cost and schedule efficiency rate equal to BAC over CPI times SPI. And for future constant cost and schedule efficiency rate equal to ACWP plus BAC minus BCWP over CPI times SPI.
I'll be continuing on the methodology, which is focusing on the forecasting techniques that is based on the linear trend analysis, which is a very popular technique in the industry and being used by many construction organizations for final costing. The forecasting techniques employed in current project management systems such as Primavera and Artemis by applying simple regression analysis to the forecast cost and the schedule performance. As for more traditional technique for business forecasting, it is the trend projection method is concerned with the movement variable across time. This strategy necessitates a large amount of time series data. The trend projection method is based on the assumption that factors responsible for the past trend in the variables to be projected will be continue to play their role in determining the magnitude and direction of the variable. As for the forecasting approach is to determining the demand project cost, that the linear trend projection line is the best method that should be considered as the best to be anticipated when compared to other methods.
My name is Muhammad Hasanuddin bin Fazil and my metric number is DD180061. So today I will talk about the result and analysis for this project. So the actual cost and the demand cost throughout the years. This is the table. So there are a total of 12 years where each of the demand cost and actual cost is different. Next, tabulate a trend line table, which is consists of time period, which label X, the demand, which is represented by Y, X square and X times Y. So the total summation for X is equal to 78 and the total summation of Y is equal to 15,823 and the total summation for X square is equal to 650 and the total summation for XY is equal to 128,754. Next, the slope of the graph and the y-intercept value will be calculated by using this formula. So the value for slope of the graph, which is represented by B, is equal to 208.336. Meanwhile, the value for y-intercept, which is represented by A, is equal to negative 427.208. So this is the equation of the trend line, which is y is equal to negative 427.208 plus 208.336x. So the total forecast for the 13th year is 2281.16. Next, I will talk about the discussion. So in time series model, there are a few of equations, but several of the equation uses constant, which is it is difficult to find for this project. So in order to tackle the problem, trend line projection is the best method to use to forecast the demand for this problem. A little bit suggestion, every project manager should take an action such as overviewing the cost usage for a project and always ensure that the actual cost usage does not deviate from the demand. So that's all from me. We will move on to the conclusion.
My name Muhammad Abdul Ikram bin Abdul Hadi will present part conclusion. At the end of our project, based on the research study made by us, we managed to complete this task successfully by achieving the objective of the case study and analyze data result for the research. This is because the objective of the case study is not to complete and evidently by applying the knowledge of linear time projection that we had learned from the industrial engineering course. It will help us to understand better about the concept. By referring to the previous research, we identified the issue of how to ensure that the actual cost for a project does not diverge too much from the actual cost for this case study. We use what we learned in the trend projection, which is linear trend projection, to solve the problem such as to determine set for the next period of time that need to estimate the demand for project cost for finding the best fitting straight line. From our case study of the forecasting method for getting the demand project cost, we can conclude that the linear trend projection line is the best method and need to consider as the best to predict compared to the other method. Next, what we can find out from our case study is everything cost or budget are important as it can make the company lose money and thus not gain profit if the action continue to not address change the outcome of calculation. We hope that our case study will give something to company to precisely better dealing with project stakeholder and financial planning. In the future, the same research method need to be done for getting diversify this finding. Thank you.